Hello and welcome to the Trent Advantage webinar series. My name is Jason Picard and tonight's topic is varsity athletics and recreation. Joining me tonight is Alex Bridle, and off camera we also have Craig Barkley, who's going to help us out with some of the questions during the Q&A period at the end. Alex has an excellent presentation prepared for you folks this evening. It should answer most of your questions about athletics, varsity sports, as well as recreation opportunities for you when you come to Trent. But please feel free to submit your questions during this webinar, and while we're doing the presentation, please take advantage of the chat function and send your questions in so that we can answer them in order once we get to the end of the presentation. So without any further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Alex, who's got this fantastic presentation for you folks. Over to you, Alex.
Thanks very much, Jason. So welcome everybody. As Jason has mentioned, my name's Alex Bridle. I'm the Athlete Development Coordinator at Trent University. Craig Barkley, who's off to my right, is the Youth Development Coordinator. So my primary function is about ensuring varsities programs and the campus recreation and other recreation opportunities are available to the students at the campus here. So we'll move right in here. Just touching on a couple of the items we'll talk about. So first we'll talk about the varsity. So the Excalibur is our brand. Then we'll look at the landscape. So not only the campus as a whole, but specifically our athletic center and the variety of areas we have there for you to use for, again, recreation and athletics purposes. And finally, we'll get into the athletics, but beyond varsity. So the campus recreation and then our fitness and lifestyle, which includes some of our programming at the facility. So within the We Are the Excalibur, the varsity side, we'll talk about a few different subjects. We've got our story, our culture, and of course our sports, the different sports that we do offer for varsity programs. And finally, we'll talk about our goals. So what we envision our programs doing and the hopes we have for you as prospective student athletes. I'll let you know that we do use the term student athletes to refer to all of our students here. It's not just our varsity athletes. Anybody can be an athlete at a different level. We follow the long-term athlete development model from Canadian Sport for Life, which really allows us to give programming to anybody, regardless if it's your first time in a gym, your first time shooting a basketball, or if you are at the varsity level and potentially looking to continue on in Sport for Life. So we have a variety of options that we'll go through in these different areas. So first, our story. A little bit of literature that'll come up here. But essentially touches on where we've come from as an athletic department, particularly our varsity sports at this point. So we've been around for more than 35 years in inter-university competition, and through that we've expanded not only the number of sports that we participate in, but certainly in the quality of our sports that we've got and the facilities as well. We do offer a great balance of academic, sport, and social opportunities within the department, and they all lead to a very positive environment. And then just a little bit about the Excalibur as a logo, as a representation of our varsity sports. It is, as you can see, the King Arthur's sword, which is said to have possessed magical powers, and we feel it's a great way to embody the pride that is taken in representing Trent University on an inter-university competitive level. A little bit about our culture here. One of our main focuses, primarily with the varsity athletics, is the student athlete experience. We want to make sure that on and off the field, court, or water, that people have the opportunity to have a positive experience within sport. Sport at any level can lead to a positive or negative experience, and we do everything we can to ensure that it's a positive one when you're competing for Trent University and representing the university. As I talked about a little bit, the positive sport experience. So the student athlete experience is a balance between your academics and your athletics. This is about the sport experience itself. We want to ensure that what you take away is pride and a positive attitude from your competition, whether it's on campus or traveling to other campuses as a varsity athlete. And finally, the representation of the Excalibur. A lot of people don't think about the fact that when they're competing at a university or for a specific team, they're actually representing the school as a whole. You are ambassadors to the school as a whole. So when you're wearing the green and white of the Excalibur, you're moving to different campuses across Ontario, and if we're fortunate enough to progress, possibly across Canada, sometimes international for exhibition or other play. So there is a great representation there. And as I said, you are an ambassador to the school. So representing more than just yourself. It's yourself, your teammates, your coaches, your friends, and those that associate with the school, as well as the school as a whole. And finally, that leads to the commitment to the Excalibur. There is a level of commitment expected of our varsity athletes. Many coming into varsity athletics at this day and age understand that it's not just a matter of picking up your shoes and getting on the court or getting out to play, but there are a number of people, there are a number of aspects to the sport and the commitment and training, but also to your academics as well. So we want to make sure, getting back to that first point, that there's a positive balance between the students' academics and the students' athletics. So again, here's our logo here as the Excalibur. Now we'll talk a little bit about what varsity sports we do offer. This do have a little change in structuring coming into this year, but we do have a wide variety of sports that are available to our student athletes. We have men's and women's rugby. We have men's and women's lacrosse, men's and women's soccer. We have rowing, which is men's and women's, and a variety of different boats. We have men's and women's volleyball, and men's and women's curling. Now we do have other sports, as I've mentioned, that offer the opportunity to compete at an inter-university level. We do have cross-country running, and we do also have cross-country running, and then we have golf as well, where there is the opportunity, should you meet certain standards, to be able to compete at that level as well. So as we mentioned, these sports are all both male and female, and we like to keep that balance within all of our sports and opportunities for all students. And one thing that we're excited about for this year, in fact, is that we actually have our volleyball and our men's rugby program joining the Ontario University Athletics, which brings all of our sports under the one window here. Now we'll move to our goals. So as a varsity program, one of our primary goals is to attract and grow elite level student athletes. Again, we talk about student athletes here, so not just about the competition level and the quality of the athlete, but also the quality of the student that's involved there. So we do strive for excellence and to attract and grow the academic and athletic side, but certainly in competition, we want to ensure that we're bringing the best possible athletes onto our teams as well. Leading from that, we feel that we want to be competing and contending with the top schools in the OUA, CIS, and CUFLA. So for those of you that aren't 100% familiar with the terminology, the OUA is the Ontario University Athletics. They represent the combined university teams. The CIS is the national governing body, so OUA is the provincial body that represents the CIS. And then CUFLA is the Canadian University Field Lacrosse Association. So the men's lacrosse program actually competes in its own league, which is CUFLA there. And as I mentioned, we really want to ensure that as we grow and develop these elite level student athletes, that we are giving the opportunity for our teams and our individuals competing in sports the opportunity and the resources needed to contend with the best. So here we want to ensure that we're fostering the individuals as well. So it's not just about athletics, it's not just about academics, it's also about your life balance. People talk about work-life balance from time to time. As a student, many will hold a part-time job on the side as well, but there's a lot that goes into the commitment level of being a varsity athlete. And we want to make sure that we are encouraging and promoting the achievements of our varsity athletes in the classroom, in competition, and outside as well. So we do also offer many resources at the university, which allow for a balance and to ensure that people are getting that healthy balance between these, but all these factors. But we do believe that sport itself can provide that balance to student athletes. It gives people who are new to campus a chance to meet new people. It gives them a chance to meet like-minded people. It gives them something to do on the side when they're in their social lives. So it really encourages people to take pride in the school that they're attending and to do something that they really enjoy. Right here, what we brought up is a photo of Michael Jorgensen. Mike is he's graduated now, but he's a former varsity rugby player, just graduated this spring from his master's program. And Mike is actually being showcased for his academics here. This is something the university has put together. So the Center for Teaching and Learning has profiled Mike. And as I mentioned before, our men's rugby team is one of 3 teams, along with the 2 volleyball teams that are transitioning to the OUA this year. They previously competed in the OCAA, where our men's rugby program this past season, this fall of 2015, were actually the champions of the Ontario College Athletics Association. So we're transitioning them in, but just goes to show that balance between striving for excellence in athletics in terms of being a champion on the field, and then with Mike striving for excellence academically here as well. And Mike's done a lot of great work in terms of research for concussion awareness and concussion research for student athletes, actually, and has used some of the student athletes at Trent as his sample through his graduate studies. So great opportunities on the field and in the classroom as well for everybody. I just want to encourage everybody as we move away from the varsity, please check into the chat as well so that we can make sure that we've got lots of questions coming in here. We want to make sure we get to as many as possible as we work through.
Yeah, so we're getting lots coming in right now, and we're going to field most of these in the Q&A portion following the slides. So hang tight for some of those, and other ones we are answering as we can directly, but they will get repeated in the Q&A so that everybody gets those same answers.
So as we talked about at the beginning, we'll get into a little bit about the campus itself, the landscape, and also the athletics complex. So as we say here, where we live, play, and compete. Coming right up here is the campus, and this is an overview shot that just really shows the natural landscape of Trent University. Haven't mentioned it yet, but I am an alumni of Trent University. I was a varsity soccer player here a few years ago, maybe more than a few, but very excited to be a part of it. And I can attest to the fact that having been to many other campuses in Ontario and across Canada, we truly are fortunate for the natural landscape that we do have here. So you can see in the sort of center left Justin Chu Stadium, that is where our varsity teams compete. And then just above that to the right is the athletics complex. We'll get a better shot of that as we go. But you can see some of the other buildings and how we have the Otonabee River that splits the campus in the north end of Peterborough. Just talking about some of the details of the campus, 1,400 acres of land, which I believe is the second largest in Canada behind UBC. So beautiful landscape, lots of it. There's over 30 kilometers of nature trails, including paths along the river that commonly people use for running, hiking, biking along. And then, of course, we have the state-of-the-art facilities. The facilities have come a long way as well. So when I first started playing soccer, we didn't have the turf field that we do have now at Justin Chu Stadium. We didn't have the athletics complex or athletics center, sorry, as it currently exists. We've had a great expansion onto the athletic services available in the last decade, and we're very proud of what's there, and very excited for our new students, current students, and future students to experience everything that the campus has to offer. Getting into a little bit more detail about the athletics complex. So as I said, a little bit better of a shot. This is just from the north end of the Justin Chu Stadium field. So this is looking at the main entrance to the facility. On the left-hand side behind the trees, you can see what is the gymnasium. And everything before that is a recent expansion. So all the glassed-in area is part, and the main entrance, as well as the facility, which certain parts which we'll show you as we go through, are an expansion that have happened within the last 10 years, and really provide a state-of-the-art facility for everybody. So as we've discussed, we have the multi-purpose center here. This is a shot that you can see of the two-story glass windowed floor-to-ceiling fitness center. This is where all our weight training, weight machines are located. On the right-hand side, you can actually see the rock wall, which we do have, an indoor rock wall, which offers a variety of routes to ascend, from beginners up to experts. As part of this, we do offer introductions to the rock climbing wall, so you can, even if you're a beginner, you can come out and try it for the first time. Again, full variety of weights and weighted machines and platforms to work with. So in fact, there's actually over 12,000 square feet of total room for the fitness facility. We don't have a shot of it here, but in the bottom left corner, the dark area there is actually the stairs leading up to the cardio loft, which feature a few more multi-weight machines, but primarily the cardio machines, along with televisions, and you've got ellipticals, we've got plenty of treadmills. Some face over the facility below, some face out over to the water actually as well. So that second story, as you can see in this photo, the second story is glass, it's windows floor to ceiling, and that extends into the cardio room. So not much, can't be much closer to running outside without actually doing it versus where we have our cardio equipment at Trent. Again, Justin Chu Stadium, outdoor artificial turf, and there is a track around that for training and for competition. Our cross-country team does train there as well. And we do have the international competitive squash courts. Apologize for the duplication there, but we do have 3 squash courts available to our students to enjoy as well. Continuing a little bit about the facility, what you'll see here is a picture of one of our former varsity rowers actually training in one of our 2 rowing tanks. So on either side of him, there is a rowing tank and paddling tank. This is state-of-the-art technology for North America, and we're very privileged to have a partnership with Row Ontario and Row to Podium, which allows for our student athletes who compete in rowing to really excel at the top levels. We are quite often having people training towards national team membership within rowing as well. So we're very fortunate to have this become a part of our complex and our athletic center here at Trent University. We also feature a 25-meter competitive pool as well as a therapy pool. So again, those are all available to the students. And we also have Health in Motion. So Trent Health in Motion is an on-site physio, rehab, and sports health clinic. They also handle a lot of the athletic therapy for our varsity programs as well. So always good to have that right in-house. We don't have to send students off campus to another site. They can get all the treatment that they need pre, during, and post-competition. And as was mentioned before, over 30 kilometers of hiking trails. And we do actually have our canoe center as well, where canoe rentals are available to launch right off our front doorstep onto the Otonabee River. So after we've gone through that, where we play, we'll talk a little bit more, move from the varsity onto the recreation opportunities for other students. So as I alluded to before, as the athlete development coordinator, we really try to have representation of student athletes across all levels and many different sports. So varsity is a very important factor of the student life for many students. We have approximately 300, but we have many, many more people who still want to participate in recreational activities and a healthy, active lifestyle that maybe don't compete quite at the varsity level. And so we'll talk a little bit about what we do have to offer there. So campus recreation, this is where we have different levels of fun opportunities for our student athletes or students to stay active. This is just a recounting of some of the opportunities we have here. So soccer, volleyball and basketball are available at the competitive and recreational divisions. So for those who are focusing more on fun, the recreational, for those maybe trying a new sport, they can enter at the recreational level. And those who aren't wanting to go to the varsity level, can't commit quite to that at this point in time, but still want to have a competitive sport experience, we do have competitive divisions in those sports as well. Hockey, we have intramural as well as extramural. So the intramural program is much like the campus recreation. They play at local arenas. We're very fortunate actually to have a new arena scheduled to be built on the east bank of our campus. It's a partnership with the city of Peterborough that will allow for the student athletes in intramural hockey to compete a lot closer to their campus, right on campus. But we do have the extramural hockey team as well, who compete in, it's not a league-based, but rather a tournament-based opportunity to compete against other schools, colleges and universities. So almost like a club level tournament. But again, it is a fairly high quality level of hockey for those that are interested in that. Dodgeball, getting a little bit more fun, and then inner tube water polo, which is actually quite funny and quite entertaining to both participate in and watch, but a lot of fun. As I said, this is just some of the options that we do have. There are plenty more available, and we post a fall and a winter schedule for that, which are available on our website, trentu.ca/athletics. You can find a lot of the information there, and don't worry, that website will be posted later in the presentation here. Another aspect of it is the fitness and lifestyle, where we want to encourage people, again, to be active, but people of all abilities and all levels. So this is more about the actual facility, the fitness center, and then some of the fitness programming that we do have, group fitness programs. So some of the options we do have are yoga and Pilates. We have boot camp, sculpt and burn, Zumba, cycle fit, aqua fit, and a number of others. And we're always looking for new ways to innovative ways to get people to be healthy in mind and in body. Certainly our students we encourage, and staff. Our facility is a community facility, so we do have members of the community who are there as well, taking part in these classes, but we encourage, whether they're community members, staff of the university, and certainly our student population to partake in this as well. So just a little bit of information about contacting us. Questions pertaining to Varsity, I would ask that you direct your questions directly to me. So you can find a lot of information on our teams, coaching staff. If you're looking to join a team, you can contact the coaches directly or fill out the recruitment form, as well as a lot of other information at trentvarsity.ca. Again, my email is there, varsity@trentu.ca as well. The facility and the campus recreation is a separate website unto itself, so that can be found at trentu.ca/athletics. The front desk is always a great resource. Our customer service representatives there are fantastic at giving information. And then you can also reach our campus rec coordinator, Brad Kaiserward, at campusrec@trentu.ca if you have questions. If you can't find specific answers on the website about programs you're interested in, we're happy to explore those options with you. So yeah, that's an overview about the varsity athletics, the recreation side of things, the campus and the facilities as a whole. And I understand we've got a lot of great questions that people are bringing in here. So
absolutely, we've had quite a few questions coming in, and some of them have answers that are a lot easier to say than to try and type out. So we've been holding off on these, and we're going to try and get to those kind of in the order they came in. So I'm going to start at the beginning, and we'll kind of go through them. If Alex can answer them, awesome. We may bring Craig in for some of them as well. So the first question we've had, and it's been here for a little bit, is how many positions are open on the girls' varsity team for next year?
On the women's varsity team, I'm not sure if there's a particular team that we're referring to, but we encourage everybody to come out to. We have almost 300 varsity student athletes. It's, as we do offer all of our sports in men's and women's teams, it's usually approximately a 50-50 split. So you're looking at approximately 150 spots that could be filled. But again, maybe I'll pass a little bit over to Craig here, because along with being our youth development coordinator, Craig Barkley, is actually the head coach of our women's varsity volleyball team as well. So,
yeah, and just to kind of mention, the positions on the teams are typically up to the coaches too. So one of the best ways is to find out which team you're interested in, and all the contact information for all the coaches are posted on the website. So whichever sport you are interested in, it would be in your best interest to contact the coach or fill out the varsity recruitment form, because that is ultimately decided by the coach of each program.
So maybe a follow-up question to that wasn't typed out, but is there sort of a timeline that prospective students that are thinking of coming to Trent next year and are considering a varsity sport or trying out, is there a certain timeline they need to be doing this recruitment form and contacting coaches? When's the best time to do that?
We encourage, obviously, the sooner the better, because it allows the coach to get in contact with you and follow up with you, answer any questions you may have. All of the forms, anything that needs to be done ahead of time is available on the website. The two earliest sports, or the two earliest teams are men's and women's soccer. They start their training camp on August 15th. And so, especially if you're looking for any housing arrangements or access to early residence, we have a limited number of spots available for early residence access. And Brian Greer, who's our varsity recruiter, and when you submit the recruitment form from the website, it goes directly to Brian. It can answer questions about that and let you know, but certainly it's that always a sooner is better scenario. But we do have people every year who come out and you know, what we call walk on. So some people just don't know about it until they get to campus, and we welcome people to do that as well, but it's always easier if you're prepared.
Great points. Our next question is one that's kind of overlaps with athletics as well as housing, and that's we have someone interested in participating in archery as well as cycling club, and wondering about if there's a place to securely store a bow and road bike, or whether that's got to be in residence, and what sort of answers you can provide. We've already provided the residence contacts, so that's residence@trentu.ca for whether you might want to store it in residence, but maybe there is an athletics answer as well.
Yeah, I think I can speak to the, I don't know what storage is available for the secure locking of a bike within residence, whether it's done in the room or somewhere else, but certainly residents of the trentu.ca would be able to answer that question. The bow, we do have an archery club based at Trent Central Student Association Club, TCSA Club, for archery. Unfortunately, a bow is not allowed on campus because it is a weapon, or can be used as a weapon, and as such, it does have to be stored, I believe, at the archery club. It's not part of our varsity program directly, so I'm not 100% sure that it's stored at the club, but they aren't brought onto the campus at the athletics center.
So there is a way to bring your personal equipment with you and have it stored appropriately and be able to participate in some off-site archery practice, etc.
Yes, there is.
Awesome. Next question I've got here is, what levels of competitive swimming do we have? Are there tryouts? Is there lots of traveling?
So the swimming is not a varsity sport at Trent. We do have the pool here. In the past, there has been a Trent swimming program, but a number of years ago, it became a club. There's the Trent Valley Swim Club who trains at our facility, and there are opportunities within the community to train and compete. But at this time, we do not have a varsity swim team that's available. Again, those students are able to use the pool. There's a number of different opportunities to do so. So if they want to continue training, they certainly have the ability to do so at the Trent Athletic Center.
Okay, thank you. So another one, and I'll quickly remind folks, if you do have additional questions, there's been a little bit of a pause here. So if you have more questions that you want to send our way, please keep those coming. We'd be more than happy to get those answered for you. The next question that we've got here is asking about whether there are tryouts for the girls lacrosse team, or are all the spots already filled. And we've kind of partly answered that, but perhaps some spots are already assigned. Maybe you can speak to that.
Yeah, to be honest, every spot is open every year. It's at the coach's discretion as to who makes a team and who doesn't, but we always welcome new student athletes to come out and try out for the team. So by no means are our rosters set prior to a training camp. every team does run a training camp, and we give that opportunity. And we pride ourselves on giving the best student athletes the opportunity to compete as well. So by all means, there are positions available, and there are positions that can be filled and competed for in that first year as well. And I'll let Craig step in here a little bit as well.
And that being said, every team does hold an open tryout as well. So everyone is allowed or able to try out for any of the varsity teams, because every program does hold an open tryout every year.
Yeah, we really like to encourage people to participate and come experience it. So that open tryout provides that opportunity to see where you line up with everyone.
Yeah, I can definitely speak to that personally. I've got a very good friend that started school here fairly recently. On a whim, decided to try out for rowing in his first year and ended up making the team and got the opportunity to travel and represent Trent. So that's a really nice thing about our teams here, is that you do have that chance to try something new, even if you haven't done it before. So that's another unique opportunity that you have when you become a student at Trent University. Next question I'll touch on, and it's kind of a follow-up, probably from the same person actually, is she's wondering if we have a varsity girls hockey team.
Again, as was suggested in the list of the sports, we don't have a varsity hockey program at the moment. We do have the extramural hockey program, but that is a men's only team, and that's that extramural program is run by the OCCCR, and they actually have a number of different opportunities for extramural competition, but currently we do not have a team, an extramural hockey team or a varsity hockey team for women's.
Okay. Additionally, we mentioned some of the on-campus facilities, some of the things like the hiking trails that a lot of people use for running and cycling and generally exploring. And we have a question wondering if some of those trails are lit in the evening.
On campus, there are some paths that are lit. We certainly have a very well lit campus. The pathways are in and amongst the campus. So certainly there are paths that are able to be run on. The hiking trails themselves, once they expand beyond the campus, are not lit. There are a combination of terrains as well. So in our Drumlin area, which is sort of a hilly, more natural, or most natural area, which is great for exercising, that there are some paths, as I said, that are paved. And then there's also limestone pathways extending to the outer reaches of the campus, which also are not lit, but there is plenty of pathway on campus to train in a lit, safe area.
I'll also mention that we're right on kind of the edge of the north end of Peterborough, and there's a rec path that kind of runs from campus right through the city next to the river, and it's paved. It is partly lit in spots, just being a local and spending a lot of time walking and cycling on them myself. I can mention that you can definitely do some early evening running on those trails and feel very comfortable and secure. Similarly, nearby there's lots of residential neighborhoods with varied terrain, so if you're looking for winter outdoor training, you can definitely do some outdoor running even in the evenings in a residential area nearby if you wanted to. I've got some additional questions that have come in. We've got a question about the new arena that's in the works, and when will that be ready?
So yes, as was mentioned, there is a new arena, Twin Pad Arena, that is the city has planned in partnership to build on our campus. So this will be a city-owned arena. Twin Pad, as I mentioned, the final details and designs are still ongoing. So groundbreaking hasn't occurred on that at the moment, but so difficult to give a final exact timeline for that. But we're hoping in approximately 3 years, give or take, that's expected to happen. But as can happen, these timelines certainly can vary and can be extended. But we're very excited to have the opportunity to bring that to the Trent campus. It gives us a lot of opportunities. And it adds to already partnerships with the city. On the East Bank, we have a new multi-purpose rectangular field, so rugby, lacrosse, soccer, all sports can use that field, as well as a full-size regulation hardball diamond as well. So the groundbreaking for those will be happening in mid of June, June 21st, I believe, and those are city partnerships as well. And we're very excited to have these new facilities on site. Yeah, touching on the exact timeline, it's difficult to say for that arena.
Okay, another question. I think we're getting some very interested fitness fans and respective student athletes here, because we're seeing a lot of the same people ask these questions. Another one coming in is, are there clubs that offer sports that aren't on the varsity/competitive/rec list provided in the presentation? What else might be on offer through other clubs, etc.?
Yes, so there are quite a number of clubs available. As I mentioned earlier, the Trent Central Student Association, which is a student union here at Trent, there are quite a number of clubs that are available. Archery was one of them, which was brought up earlier. There is a Trent Valley fencing group who I apologize, I didn't mention earlier. There is the opportunity to compete at a provincial level for them. There is a cheerleading club. There's a badminton club, Nordic skiing, and quite a number of others, tennis, synchronized swimming, boxing club. All of that information can actually be found on the Trent website at trentu.ca/athletics/clubs. You can find the Trent Central Student Association links there for everything that's available for athletic clubs. So there's certainly, and that's not even to name them all, and as I mentioned, every term we're looking at new opportunities to involve our students in the campus recreation programs as well. We have beach volleyball courts where we allow people to enjoy their time there. And certainly there's also pickup sports available or just equipment available at the facility as well. So if you're a student and you come in and want to shoot a basketball, the front desk has basketballs available. Kick a soccer ball, same idea. We have a lot of opportunities for our students.
So there's lots more than just the competitive sports, as you can see. Some additional questions that have come in. Is there an additional fee to use the athletic facilities or gym?
That's a fantastic question, and we're very happy to say, as students, while you are a student at the campus, so within your studies, you do actually get a membership to the facility included in your student package. So your student card will gain you access to the facility while you are in school at Trent. We do some of the offered programs. We do have a wristband that is a small additional fee, which gives access to some of the group fitness programs, but it's a very reasonable cost when you look at what the cost of some of these classes are at private facilities out in the communities. So we're very excited about that, but certainly the fitness center, use of the equipment, the other sports are included in that. I will touch that campus recreation does have some small fees, and then there are some participation fees as a varsity athlete as well, but in terms of just use of the facility and some of the programming, it's definitely available to all students.
So you kind of started in on one of the questions that has come in and touched on an answer, and that is, do the active living programs such as yoga, boot camp, etc. cost extra? And you kind of hinted at that. If so, when and where would someone pay, and perhaps do we know what those would cost?
Sure, I'll pass that along to let Craig answer that one.
So for fitness classes, you can purchase a bracelet each term, and it does cost $30 per term. And that is just purchased at the front desk by any of our customer service agents at the front desk. And that gives you access to all fitness classes.
So for an entire semester, $30 for whatever fitness classes you want to do.
That's right.
That sounds like a really good deal.
That is a very good deal.
Yeah, I looked into a yoga class in the city earlier just to do on the weekend, and it was actually $25 for the one yoga class. So quite a great value in that.
Okay, we've had a follow-up question to that. We're talking about $30 per term. How long is a term? And I can quickly answer that. We're talking about a semester of university, and that is typically September through December for your fall semester, and then your winter semester runs January through April. So $30 for 4 months is kind of the more specific and precise answer to that question. Another question that has come in is, can someone practice or train with the varsity teams even if they're not on them?
That's usually a discretion of the coach, but the most likely scenario is that those who are part of the varsity program will be those that are training with the varsity program. Different sports have different regulations in terms of roster size and who can actually participate. So I'll give a couple of different examples here. A soccer program, for instance, soccer team is allowed a maximum of 25 people on their eligibility declaration form. So sometimes others may be included in training, but it's known that they are not actually they don't have the opportunity to participate. So theoretically possible, but not likely to have someone there. Rowing's a very unique sport in that we have a number of different levels for our rowing program. We have our varsity program, of course, men's and women's. We then have a junior varsity program. And actually have a novice rowing program as well. The novice rowing program is a very cool program. It's not exclusive to Trent by any means, but in terms of the setup of the sport, the novice rowing program allows you to try essentially rowing. There is a stipulation that to be part of a novice team, you cannot have ever competed as a rower. So for the most part, you're getting people who are naturally athletic, maybe have the opportunity and the build for rowing, but haven't had the opportunity to get in a boat before to actually try it. It's not the most accessible sport for all people, needing some fairly expensive equipment and some flat water. So we've got a little bit of a different dynamic there in terms of whether you can train with them or not. But for the most part, you're usually looking at just the varsity athletes who are on the registered roster, training with those on field or on court or on water, for the most part.
Good answer.
Thanks.
So another one that's come up, and kind of tying into that ice pad that's coming up in the future, would we consider creating a women's varsity hockey team in the future?
I can let you know you're not the first person to ask this question once the announcement was made that we were getting the arena. The arena offers us some great opportunities. Certainly having an arena on campus does afford us the opportunity to look at potentially having varsity. At this time, there are no plans to introduce that because it's not just about the facilities. Anytime we enter a new sport, we want to ensure that we're giving our athletes the best opportunity to succeed within that environment. And the sport of hockey is a very, very competitive sport in Canada and at the university level. And so we would not want to just jump right into that without proper planning. So does it afford us the opportunity with the new arena? Certainly, as I said, not the first person to ask the question, but at this time we do not have plans for varsity men's or women's hockey to be coming.
That's a popular one on the road as well. When I'm out talking to high school students during presentations and such, that's always a popular topic about hockey. Additional questions that have come in just recently. So for a student that's coming in the fall, would they be able to bring in a friend who isn't a student to work out with them?
Yeah, that's absolutely possible. So we're very fortunate that we obviously offer students memberships, but we are also open to the community, and we have community members as a part of our gym. So they could, well, there's always the opportunity as a non-student to start off with a 7-day free trial to test out the gym, but then also the opportunity to purchase a community membership.
Okay, excellent. I should mention at this point, we do get the Athletic Center. We find it's a pretty great community hub. There's lots of people from this part of Peterborough that particularly enjoy the facilities and make that their choice for their local workouts and part of their healthy living lifestyle. They'll come in the mornings or in the evenings. So it's not just students that you're going to find on campus, and it's another great way that we integrate into the bigger Peterborough community. More questions have been rolling in here, and keep those coming, folks. These are really good questions. Alex is asking us, when does cross country start?
So cross country starts right up in the fall. They are not a league-based competition. They are event-based. So each year it can vary as to when the actual competitions begin, or which is the first race that is competed in. And it's usually the coaches and the athletes who decide when they want to. You don't have to compete in all competitions in cross country. You do have to qualify in order to compete at the OUA championships. But the competitions do start after the classes start, but training is ongoing year round. And again, it's at the discretion of the coach when they start their training camp, and they may decide that based on when the first competition they are targeting is occurring. So the Peterborough Legion Track Club also does have some training that happens here on a year-round basis, and so you can see some of our athletes competing with community groups as well throughout the year. So there's always an opportunity to come out and meet with the coaches and other athletes on campus to train. But if I had to put a date, I'd probably say early September for when they actually start the formal training for the cross country.
We've also had some folks join us after the beginning of the webinar, and for anyone that might have missed the beginning, I'll just quickly mention that the webinar will be available on the Trent YouTube channel, so you'll be able to follow up there, and that'll follow shortly after this completes, so you can take a look at the beginning later on. And in the future, if you want to come back and revisit some of the questions and answers that we've provided, that's definitely a good resource. Another question that is rolled in is, what time are the hours, or what facility hours do we run for the Athletics Center?
So we have two sets of hours. We have our regular hours of operation, which is primarily during the school year, and that's Monday to Friday from 5:30 a.m. to 11 p.m., Saturdays and Sundays from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. And then we have our summer hours of operation, which come into effect on June 1st, so just coming up early next week. And they are Monday to Friday, 5:30 a.m. to 9 p.m., so a couple of hours earlier that we close down, and then Saturday and Sunday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. as well. As we mentioned, a little bit more expanded through the school year when we have more students living on campus and more people looking to make use of the facilities then. And we do like to let people know that those hours at all hours are staffed hours. So there will be someone in the fitness center, people at the front desk, and others in and about the facility at all open hours. So you don't have to worry about being alone in a facility at any point in time.
Okay, additional questions. We're wondering about things like squash courts and equipment to borrow and costs associated, and how one would go about booking a court and borrowing equipment, etc.
Yeah, absolutely. For a lot of the sports, inclusive of squash and badminton, we do have equipment, also basketball. And you can just ask our front desk staff at the Athletic Center. And in terms of booking a court, it's the same process. It is just finding yourself at the Athletic Center, talking to the front desk, and they have your booking system, and that's how you book the squash courts. For badminton, if there is open gym, there's often times where you can set up a badminton court or have a facility attendant help you set up a badminton net. The squash courts are open the entirety of the gym. So the hours that Alex just mentions, those squash courts are open the entire time, and you just ask any front desk staff and you'll be able to book a squash court.
Awesome. All right, well, we've covered all the questions that have rolled in, so I think we're going to wrap this webinar up at this point. And so thanks so much for joining us, folks. It's been really nice having you join us this evening. We hope we've been able to answer some questions and provide some more additional information about athletics and varsity sports. Oh, one last question has just rolled in. Will there be a baseball and/or softball team this year, since there was a diamond just built on campus?
Another great question. So again, similar to the arena, it does afford us the opportunity and the availability to have. It is a hardball diamond, so it is designed specifically for hardball. So to have a varsity softball, it doesn't suit those needs specifically. But at this time, we do not have plans for the varsity level, but there may be the opportunity for for campus recreation or other facility use there. One thing I will mention about the ball diamond and the rectangular field is they are like this, the arena will be, they are city-owned facilities, so they will be used for community use, as well as hours that we'll have for them as well as a athletic facility. So they're certainly available to be used, but at this time, in terms of baseball and softball, we do not have plans for varsity programs there.
So before we wrap up, perhaps I can just get you to one more time mention the best point of contact for any follow-up questions that someone might have. So perhaps website as well as email contacts would be great.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the slides there showed, but we'll remind you, there's for varsity program, you can visit trentvarsity.ca. That lists off all of our sports, contact information for coaches, the recruitment form. We have a view book on there that shows you a little bit more details about each of the programs. And you can see some of the stats and the past performances. And if you have specific questions, you can contact me directly at varsity@trentu.ca is the best way to reach me. If you're looking for the group programming or campus recreation, this time of year, the best way is just to contact the front desk, or you can email campusrec@trentu.ca in order to ask specific questions about the campus recreation programs. But fitness and programming, certainly the front desk is available to help you, and then the other campus rec opportunities, as I said, campusrec@trentu.ca.
Awesome. Okay, so I'll quickly take this moment to remind anybody that's watching about our upcoming webinars in the Trent Advantage webinar series. Tomorrow evening we have joint majors, so if you're considering adding a second subject area to your studies and your existing major that you applied to, that can be a great source of further information on that. Additionally, on May 31st, we're going to have a financial aid and OSAP webinar, so that's always a popular topic. So please join us for that to find out more about opportunities to help pay for university. I'd like to take this opportunity to also remind you that there's lots of great opportunities to come and visit us. We have campus tours running pretty much daily, Monday through Friday, and most Saturdays, typically at 1 o'clock. And if you're interested in booking one of those, it can all be done online ahead of time. You can sign up at trentu.ca/tours. I think I'd like to wrap it up there, and thank you all for joining us and your great questions. I'd like to thank Alex, and also off camera, I'd like to thank Craig for all his help with questions this evening, and we'll leave it there. Thanks so much.